Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falco Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between Best and Light here on Fighting Spirit. Top right hand corner it is the Orange Terran player Light, and in the bottom right we have Best. He is purple today. Alrighty then, so PvT here on Fighting Spirit, a classic map for a classic matchup. These two players are incredible. This is from 2016. So, man, that's 5 years ago now, right? Holy smokes, it is 2021, and 2016 was 5 years ago. Oh, man, I feel old. Time speeds up every single year that I have been alive. Anyway, it's a 4-player map, so proxies and cannon rushes are just a little bit less effective than on the 2-player maps. So I think we're going to have a macro game here from these players, and yeah, there's just a pylon coming up and a supply depot coming up, and anyway, PvT, mech from the Terran, carriers maybe, here from the Protoss? We'll have to see. Bump. Gateway on the low ground, being powered by a pylon on the high ground. Very cool. And scouting the correct direction here, is Best. I don't think I've ever seen a game where Bisu scouts the correct direction against their opponent on Fighting Spirit, especially if it's a Zerg player and loses. That's how important scouting the correct direction on a 4-player map is, at least for Bisu anyway. Anyway, a little bit of probe harass here on the SCV, pull another SCV off the mineral line to help out. This, this little interaction has been around for a very long time and will continue to be around for a very long time, and even has skipped over to StarCraft 2. Man, the early days of StarCraft 2, Forge Fast Expanding was the build for Protoss, but 1-gate expands are pretty much the norm. No Forge expands at all, just scouting to see, you know, if it's an early pull from the Zerg, to see if it's a proxy thing from the Terran, and then just defending, basically, well, sometimes with Zealots, depending on what it is. Anyway, Zealot moving up. I do like early Zealot pressure out of Best here. It's very good. It's just, at the very least, it forces the Terran player to focus on something else. You can actually just... Oh, man. Can you do a delay on this expansion? I'm not sure that's what we're doing anyway, because there's definitely a factory coming up here from the Terran player Light. Zealot is hoofing it in, and the probes here, too, to provide extra DPS. Extra damage against SCVs that might come on over here. Alright, so there's 2 Marines out. That's definitely harder for the Zealot to deal with than just 1. I love the positioning here, too. Making it harder for the Zealot to get on top of these guys by positioning them between buildings, behind buildings, protecting the SCV, building the factory, so the Zealot can't get in here to take down that SCV without taking shots from these Gauss rifles that the Marines are rolling with. So very nice pressure, but really good defense from Light here as well. And I'm not even sure at this point, yeah, where the Marine count is 3, probably not going to delay this expansion very long, if it is going to be delayed at all anyway. I mean, that is a quick factory, which means no expansion here from the Protoss player, recognizing, all right, this is going to be tanks real fast. Let's get a Cyber Core down, and he does. Down south, he's working on the Singularity Charge upgrade, making another gateway even before expanding here. This is some aggressive stuff out of Best, but I think it's more in response to the aggressive stuff out of Light here, man. Factory still hasn't expanded. Is saving resources for it, though, so going to be very close to now. This SCV moves down and tries to expand. Is this guy trying to expand and the pathing's bad? No. Wow, so he's building it on the high ground. Yeah, so the Vulture came in and saw there's not an expansion from the Protoss. I'm going to be careful, just like Best is being careful. There's 2 Zealots out. Wow. That's amazing stuff. Is he working on Dragoons now? Yes. All right, so Dragoons coming out now. Singularity Charge is almost done. This is incredible. So basically, tank out, which means you're pretty safe to move out now. If you're worried about Dragoons and Zealots, having a siege tank helps immensely with that. Dragoon is kind of chasing the Vulture around, but Vultures are zippy, even if they don't have their speed upgrade, as they don't. It's not being researched. Siege tank ability is on the way from Light. He's going to defend with tanks in siege mode, which is really good against smaller numbers of Dragoons. Not against larger numbers of Dragoons, right? A siege tank's not going to handle 5 Dragoons, but it handled 2 or 3 pretty well, especially with some Marine support, which we have here, obviously. Zealot's checking to see, is there maybe a third command center up here? Or maybe he took his natural base there for some reason. Nope. Still sitting on one base. So maybe a little bit worried, but expanding anyway. Best going for that natural base next to Swarpin. And what's the tech going to be? Robotics facility. Makes a ton of sense. Turret up here as well. Worried about a DT rush, potentially. As far as he knows, it's a one-base play. So we could have definitely skipped Nexus, gone right into Citadel of Adun, into Templar Archives, into DT. Obviously, this is still early for that happening, but having a turret up is going to be fine. It'll help kind of rebuff observers that try to fly around and scout things. Also, the DTs also can go after shuttles that try to drop on you too. That's another option, is shuttle drops. Just having a turret's going to be really nice that way. Vulture scouting to see if there's a third base here from the Protoss, and there's not. So this is where, if you want to get into the later game against Terran, you better have more bases than they do. I'd like to see Best take a third. I really would. Maybe he has to escort the probe up here using a Dragoon or two. Maybe a couple Zealots would be enough, but... Man, he's just making more gates. An observatory coming in as well. He's really worried about spider mines, obviously. Although, I don't think we have the spider mine upgrade. No, we don't. Because there would be spider mines out on the field already. No Terran's going to run his vultures around without first tossing down spider mines. Because if they die with those spider mines still inside them, it's a complete waste of spider mines. You don't want to do that. A wasted spider mine makes Terrans very sad. It makes Saint Flash frown upon you. Like, I don't need this missile turret. We're good. Still no second factory here. This is kind of interesting out of light. Still on one factory at 6.5 minutes. Seems a little bit strange, but we'll get there anyway. Quick plug today for the Falcon Paladin store, falconpaladin.store. It's just where you have to go to look at t-shirts and hoodies and pillows and all sorts of great stuff, mugs. All sorts of assortment things for the Falcon Paladin brand. Be sure to check it out. We'll ship anywhere in the world. Obviously, because I have fans from all over the world. Speed coming up for those vultures. If you have any suggestions for merch too, let us know. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, there's your Citadel coming up now from Best. Also, this is a Patreon cast. So this originally was posted on patreon.com/FalconPaladin a month before it showed up on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this the week of January the 14th, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. If you're watching it later than that on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Yeah, basically anybody who supports me on patreon.com/FalconPaladin for as little as $1 a month or more gains free access to these replays and these casts of mine before anybody on YouTube sees them by 3 to 4 weeks. So great stuff. Thanks everybody again who supports me out there. Templar Archives and a Stargate coming in. Fast Arbiter. This is... I've seen this quite a bit in PvTs recently. Like, even sometimes we don't get Arbiters until 3 or 4 or 5 bases are out, but the last couple PvTs I've cast, I feel like, have been pretty fast on the Arbiter and delaying the third base to accommodate for that. Which, I don't know. I kind of feel like you want to out macro the Terran, man. The way we've seen this work out for Protoss against Terran is if they're on 3 bases and 4 bases and 5 bases here in the Fog of War, while the Terran is trying to get a third. I think that's the best way to do this. The Terran doesn't really want to move out with tanks at this point, but maybe he will. Maybe he wants to. Also, holding this bridge is much better for you than holding this area. Just making sure nothing even gets close is fantastic. Observer snipe. We've got Goliaths out. Not a ton of Goliaths, as he has not scouted out carriers because we don't have those yet, possibly. But he knows. Arbiter Tribunal warping in. Arbiter production beginning. And then having detection for the Arbiter Cloak is also extremely nice. Spider mines laid all over the place. They have speed. They're going to be the eyes and the ears of light for quite a bit of time. Although, this is interesting. Oh, hold on. He picked up the tank by accident, I guess. Yeah, the tank is for base defense for this point. We will make some slow and methodical pushes out with tanks, but not right now. Vulture's in trouble, man. That's a free Vulture. Good reaction time from Light, getting the heck on out of there. Absolutely. Killing some of the spider mines in the middle of the map. Vulture's coming into the natural base, which is entirely undefended. And how many workers are they going to get? Well, there's 53 when this whole thing started. We're already down to 50. We're going to keep go 49 now. Oh, these Vultures, though. Excellent, excellent stuff. And then just pick up and get out of there before the Dragoons arrive. You don't have to sacrifice your Vultures in harassment. You can keep them alive, you know, as Light is showing. Third base coming up from Light. Holy cannoli. That is, man, economically, he's just keeping a pace with the Protoss. I gotta say, Light has an advantage here. Oh, 2 Dragoons down to Spider Mines. That sucks. Vulture's kind of paying for themselves there for sure. Spider Mines do, at the very least, as they are free units. Spider Mine, good unit. Free units are good units, that's for sure. Meanwhile, guess what? More factories. Light is getting upgrades at his armory here. He's just very methodical. This is how you play TVP. You balance between enough defense to stay alive while expanding, while continuing to make SCVs, continuing to get upgrades, making vultures and tanks until the cows come home, or until you scout carriers, until you scout multiple Stargates coming in from the Protoss, and then you make Goliaths. It's fairly simple, but can be very, very hard to deal with. If you watch Artosis at all on Twitch, he hates Protoss. He mains Terran out there. And Protoss can look very, very good if they're playing against a Terran who doesn't quite have a super excellent, like, elite level handle on them. At the elite level of StarCraft, I think Terran can do really well for themselves. But lower than that, Protoss can be pretty hard to deal with. And so far, 140 to 124 supply, just way more army supply here for the Protoss, which is generally going to be true throughout the rest of this game. But the trick is, right, the trick here is that it's more cost efficient to be on the Terran side of it. Siege tanks are probably going to get 2 to 3 to 4 kills per siege tank. Vultures are going to account for multiple kills as well with their Spider Mines and their extra damage they do against Zealots. And that's how it works. It's just going to be more cost efficient to have the Terrans and the tanks and the Vultures compared to the Zealots and the Dragoons. That's why you need more bases. That's why you need more income. That's why you need more stuff if you're going to beat a Terran in this situation. Alright, so we do have a 4th base here from Love. That's his Smurf name right now, but from Best. I was going to say, what are you doing, Science Vessel? You're a support unit. You're not supposed to fly into places completely undefended and see what you can do. I mean, even if you EMP something or irradiate something, it's just not going to be worth the risk that you're taking, friend. Stick around, stay a while. See, this is where Protoss starts to expand a lot. They'll take this one, then probably take a 5th in the bottom left here on Fighting Spirit, and then also probably start building some production facilities in here as well, because odds are, the longer the game goes on, the more the Terran's going to wipe out your main. It's just traditional for PvT. So here comes Best, though. He's posturing a bit. We're going to force the Dragoons to pull out anyway. This buys enough time for the tanks to siege up, clearing out these Spider Mines, and maybe just kill the Spider Mines and get out. Maybe not even all of them. Smart. Took a tank shot. I think one of these Dragoons, yeah, maybe this one. Maybe not that one. I don't know what took a hit there, but anyway, backing out. Just holding map control, effectively maxed out here while the Terran player is at 174 supply on 3 bases, very soon to be maxed out himself. We do have a single scout in production. What? What? We get a single scout today? I'll accept a single scout, even if it's entirely accidental. I won't say no to that. Look at this. Look at the scout. Alright, cool. Maybe scout is intended to take down science vessels? That'd be neat. It's not a bad unit for that. It's just they're so expensive. They are so much gas. There was a drop attempted over here, but then cannon shoot them away. That'd be my guess, anywho. Yeah, bottom left base taken now by Best. Still no 4th base from the Terran, but he's in no real hurry to get there. Recall's done. Recall is done, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to sneak in? Nope. He sees the science vessel, ready to rock, and chases the Arbiter out. So both players thinking about trying to get some stuff done, but getting rebuffed pretty much instantly by defenses that the other player has ready to go in positions they expect them to show up. So these players know each other really well, obviously. Played against each other hundreds and hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. Maybe not thousands of times. There's too many players in the Broodor community for it to be thousands of times, I think. Wow, we're going? No. Okay, I was like, that's a lot of siege tanks. With +2. Best recognizes, no, we're not going in there. Absolutely not. That is like 20 tanks. See, this is another thing we talk about a lot in PvT is if you jump on your opponent's tank lines and kill them when they're small, maybe sacrificing a bunch of Dragoons in the process, but still it's worth it because then the tank count isn't 30 at the 15-minute mark and unassailable over the ground. If you keep that tank count low, it's so much easier to deal with for the rest of the game. But you gotta start early on that. Another observer sniped out of the sky. In what is maybe one of the best PvTs I've ever seen, Light here. Light, this guy, actually played Protoss against Flash and did that in the best example of how to beat Terran I possibly have ever cast in my entire life. Hold that thought. Coming in, Vultures, Zealots, Siege Tanks coming around. Oh, Science Vessel's getting target fired there. Excellent job. Meanwhile, Recall at the third, forcing a liftoff on that command center. While the cat is away, the mice will play. But this is the push. This is the push where your main base is in a large amount of trouble. If you're a Protoss player, Light is going for the jugular here. He can spare enough units, I think, to save this. Although, maybe not. Okay, so these Zealots are dead. Man, just absolutely walking in here. Walking on sunshine. Oh, walking on sunshine. Oh, we got Storm coming in from Best, but I think he's lost his main. See how this production is happening over in the bottom left? Yes, it is. Gonna try to flank this a bit. But Light is smart enough to be prepared for the flank. He's got a bunch of tanks spread out. And that handles that pretty easy peasy, honestly. SCV scouting around. Is there anything we need to worry about here in this main base, or we just walk up the ramp? Honestly, I think we kind of just walk up the ramp. There's 4 Zealots protecting this base right now. Anyway, you've probably seen it. I talk about it enough on my channel that if you wanted to have seen it, you've already found it. But it's Light versus Flash. If you want to search Light Flash on my channel, you'll see it. But Light does the best job of, number 1, crazy expanding fast. Expanding super fast against Flash. Number 2, showing up with Dragoons and sacrificing every one of his Dragoons in order to knock down the tank count by 4. And then that way the tank count is not impossible to handle later. But this is where it's dicey, man. This is where Best is in trouble. He's not out expanding the Terran player. The tank count is so big that we can just, you know, split some off from this main group and come and harass the third base at the same time we're trying to take down the main. Okay, he's going to try to do it. Here we go. Zealots wandering on in. Tank fire, Goliath fire. Spider-Mine's getting some hits here. This is a lot of Zealots, man. They do have 2 attack, but it's 3 attack for Light. He's got better upgrades, and all these Zealots are dead. There's just the Arbiter gets sniped out by the Goliaths. Ooh, actually coming around from the backside again, though. Nice attack. And it looks like maybe there wasn't enough at home here, and somehow Best manages to hold on to his main, at least for the time being. All right, that was good. That was a great play by Best. I think he needed that. He's keeping all his tech structures alive. He's keeping all these gateways alive. Light is retreating, at least maybe. Well, okay, he lost his third base. That sucks. Okay, never mind. He's reconstituting his army, and he's going to do... Oh, gosh. It's only Dragoons? Not a good choice, man. Okay, good stasis. Got a couple Science Vessels here, maybe for EMPs. Dragoons positioning themselves when they're not taking tank fire, which is great. Light apparently confident enough to try to take the middle, which is not what you want. I mean, if you can get away with it, sure, it's fantastic, but hard to do. It's been so infrequent I've seen that work out. I mean, technically, Light's only on 3 bases. He's not super happy. He's retaking his right side base for base number 4 now. And again, this is kind of foregone conclusion. We've seen Protoss players win games where they lose their main like this, so this is not a death knell by any stretch. And actually, this is a really, really nice counterattack up to an entirely undefended 12 o'clock base for Light. Zealots are just like, okay, we'll just kill all your stuff, I guess. SCV is fully retreating from that position. No defense there whatsoever. The third base, right side base for Light finally landing. Main base for Best is going down. This is a pretty nuts game. This is going to get at least a nuts tag. I don't know if it's going to get an epic tag, but that was fantastique. command center 12 o'clock down, but again, that right side base is here for light. It is effectively a 2 base versus a 3-ish base economy. I mean, we're mined out here for light is the problem. I know light has more supply, which is fantastic. Vultures getting on top of these probes is exceptionally terrible for best. Really wants to keep those alive. It's down to 23 versus 48 SCVs. The main base is done, as we prophesied. But this might just be a case of Best didn't do it right, you know? Best didn't out-expand the Terran player until it was almost too late. Didn't show up to get rid of those tanks, so there wasn't a massive tank count. There was a massive tank count, and it results in the natural base, the third base, and the main base getting raised by said +3 siege tanks, now with +1 armor. Zealots are at +3 attack, no armor upgrades at all for these guys, which, again, upgrade advantage goes to the Terran player light right now. Is he even rebuilding his tech? Oh, that's a problem. I don't think he's even rebuilding his tech, you guys. This might just be the last hurrah for Best. He's coming up this ramp. Oh, tank supporting on the low ground there is super good. Zealot's not quite sure where they want to go. Do we want to deal with these siege tanks? They're at least going to force a complete liftoff here. On this 3 o'clock base, this is nuts all of a sudden. Dude, Light doesn't have any income at all. He's mined out of the 2 available bases that he has. He lost this 3 o'clock entirely. I know he's at 134 supply, but his income is 0, effectively. Is he mining from his main base a tiny bit? Sure. Was he long distance mining a tiny bit from the third? Absolutely. But look at this. 2 base, technically, economy out of the Protoss. Way more than the 0 base economy that Light is rolling with right now. This is turning super intense all of a sudden. Now, this might turn into a situation where Light needs to win this push in order to win the game, and if he doesn't, he's in a lot of trouble. That was Best accomplish what he needed to do, wiping out this entire 3 o'clock. This is bad. This is really bad for Best, though. Oh my gosh. All right, well, he's going to lose this base. Really no question about that. So Dragoons are coming down to try to deal with this. I don't know why these... Okay, we're jumping in now. Go, Vultures, go. Defensive Matrix is up, too. And the Zealots are a problem. More Defensive Matrix up on the other side, though. Good, decent Storm and good game. Best does tap out. And Light is your winner in 22 minutes and 59 seconds. Whoa. Oh, that was a thing. That was an absolutely fantastic game. I really enjoyed that game. Woo! 120 supply for Light. And I think Best's army is gone. Long distance mining here is Light when he won. That's incredible. This was a good game. This was a good game on Fighting Spirit. Like, Best did what he could. He did his best, obviously, because that's his name, but Light, just a few too many tanks. This is it, man. This is his army. 3 of his tanks are stasis. He's got 2 tanks and 7 Vultures left. I guess, in fairness, he has more tanks rolling down from the top right side. But, I mean, it's not a giant army. It's another 6 siege tanks. I guess he has these ones over here. All right, fair enough. He's got more tanks than I thought. So even though he doesn't have the income, he has the army to deal with it. It's going to be really hard for Best to keep him from coming up this ramp. Again, even though he has income, and he just tapped out. So good one. Yeah, if you're ever wondering why Protoss doesn't win these, it's just they're not following the recipe, man. Sometimes that's all it takes. Alright, so end of the day, 130,000 points here from Best, 159,000 points from Light. Ended up outproducing the Protoss, outkilling him, and losing fewer units as well. Way more Protoss buildings raised, but a good 20 Terran buildings got killed by Best there. And this can't happen. You can't have significantly more gas mined by your Terran opponent and only outspend them by 4,000. That's just not going to work out for you in the long run. So good effort by Best again, but he will live to fight another day. And bam, that's going to be it for me. So this has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what I heard or what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /FalconPaladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching. You take care of yourself.